Kill white folks and get paid for it. What's not to like? This is the message of the new race propaganda film, hate film, Django, which I'm going to be critiquing. A film that gets people all riled up about the race issue again, throws fuel on the fire. It's all about blame Whitey, blame the Southern man, blame the white man for all your problems. Don't take any responsibility. And I don't know if there's some kind of agenda here with the Jewish Hollywood. This movie came out around the time of Lincoln, another race propaganda film that is totally historically inaccurate. So it's really interesting that they came out right around the second election of Barack Obama. So I'm going to get a little more into that later. But this is not a subject we should be focused on. We need to move on. We do not need to be reminded of slavery right now. And it's better off that if people never heard about it before, they should just never know about it. And Tarantino is a director who's a complete idiot and a propagandist. He writes movies about wives cutting up their husbands and being single mothers and lesbian, and he's very anti-male. Uh, his films are unoriginal. They're full of just people talking. They're real boring, and he's real egotistical. He has to put himself in every movie. He can't even act. So I can't stand him. I don't know why he's so popular. But anyways, I think this film is very dangerous because people get inspired by films. Most people are so stupid that they learn history and they learn their whole education from movies. And this movie, it's very provocative, and people act out when they see films. Look at the Batman. So I'm going to get more into the first. I'm going to start out with it's a terrible film. It's boring. It's stupid. And first, I want to get don't waste your $10. Just wait to see it later if you want to critique it like I am. Don't make Tarantino any richer than he is, or the Jewish Zionist Hollywood. Don't give him your money. So first, I'm going to get into some of the lies of this film. First one is they show the Ku Klux Klan in this film. And it's supposed to be before the Civil War. The Ku Klux Klan was way after the Civil War, so I don't know where he's going there. He's a complete idiot. Uh, he has this thing called Mandingo fighting, where black slaves fight to the death, which never happened. There's no evidence of that ever happening. Uh, you got rap music in this film and Jim Croce. I mean, this is 1850s. I mean, he couldn't even do his homework to find out what contemporary music was of the time. It's, he's retarded. You got slaves speaking German. They could barely speak English. How are they going to be speaking foreign languages? I tried to look up Django as there's no black cowboy. There weren't any black gunslingers in that day. I looked that up for the 2 hours. So, anyways, also the way this I'm not saying they didn't treat slaves bad, but it wasn't as bad as it was in this movie. They got put them in hot boxes or whipping them all the time. If they were treated, there's one character says, why don't the slaves just kill us and rise up? They would have. If they would have treated slaves that bad, we would never had slavery. Because if you're going to have slaves, you got to show a little compassion to keep their loyalty, or they'll just snap and turn on you. So uh, he overdoes it with the. There's a kernel of truth in it, but he takes it. He exacerbates it. So this film is very historically inaccurate, and I want to make the point. I know it's going to not be politically correct that slavery is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, without slavery, African Americans would not be American. They'd be African Africans. You'd still be in Africa, starving, being in civil war and hell. So if your slavery is when it came here as slaves, you wouldn't be here driving that SUV and making the money that you play in sports or whatever. So you got a little debt to slavery. It's not like the white people that came over here in those times had it good either. They died before they were 40. It was a really rough life. So don't say you had it that much worse. Some slaves that had it better than most white people. So yeah, this totally takes it out of context. Also, if there wouldn't have been slavery, there wouldn't there would be no salvation for blacks. I mean, there isn't Christianity in Africa. If you wouldn't have been come to America, you wouldn't have the opportunity to be saved and be saved for all eternity. You've been damned. So what would you rather have? A little slavery on earth, suffering on earth, or eternity in heaven? Because in Africa they're Muslim or they have these weird tribal religions, and the Christianity there is Catholic, which aren't real Christians. So no slavery, no eternal salvation, no American, no freedom. So think about that. And this also got this idiot Spike Lee talking about he doesn't want to see his ancestors disrespected. Which one is he talking about? Because every black person in America has got white ancestry. They did they did procreate. It's not necessarily rape either with their slaves. So which ancestors are you talking about? And it gets in a little, which the only accurate thing about this film was it talks about the black slaver. A lot of people don't know that we actually purchased most of our slaves from black slavers in Africa. So you can't just blame the white man on that. It's a human thing. Next point. Also, yeah, this German character in the film is a real piece of shit. And a lot of people think he's not much different than his Nazi character. He inspires Django to save his wife based on some German paganism, which is isn't very Christian. He tells Django to kill people right in front of their children. People we don't even know their bounty hunters are even guilty. They have no due process. So he's pretty much like a mass murder, legally sanctioned mass murder. And at the end, they have the opportunity to buy his wife's freedom and walk away, but he's so arrogant and stubborn, he starts a gunfight with the plantation owner and almost gets his wife killed and gets him put back in slavery, almost gets him castrated. So he's supposed to be his mentor and savior. He's a complete moron. So I hate this character is a piece of shit. I don't know why people are, you know, he's overrated. Also, what's kind of disturbing about this film, there's kind of a little gay undercurrent to it. He asks him if he wants to partner up for the winter, and they go out in the mountains for a year and they bond. And he doesn't have a wife, and the German guy's a little light on the feet. So there was a little Brokeback Mountain feel to it. I kind of didn't appreciate. There's a lot of other subtle racist, anti-white. It's okay to kill white people. You have the actor that played Django, go on SNL and talking about he's a black cowboy and he kills all the white people in the movie, and people thought that was funny, which is pretty sick. If a white person said that about mastering blacks, it wouldn't be so funny. So what else here? So anyways, after the film, I went to this bar and I was talking about these same arguments, and there was a black couple in group sitting behind me who were listening to my conversation, and they kind of called me out. They say, "We're really offended by what you're saying. Why don't you shut up?" So I kind of, I turned around, I kind of schooled them for a while, and after they calmed down, they couldn't really argue with my logic. And after a while, they're like, "You know what? You're making some really good points. I never thought about it like that." And they bought me a beer, and then they thought, well, you're right. Maybe slavery was a blessing in disguise. We're Christians, and we don't really like African black, the black culture, and we wouldn't be free, wouldn't be in this country sitting in this bar if it wasn't for slavery. So our ancestors have to make sacrifices. So you know I'm glad I could educate them on that fact that everything is not that black and white. No pun intended. So what else? So yeah, in a nutshell, this film is a piece of shit. It's historically inaccurate. It's race propaganda. It depicts things in a very black and white fashion. It's a lie, and it's going to create a lot of problems in this country that we do not need. Tarantino is a terrible filmmaker, and do not believe the hype. So this is Bobby Lee, and I'll see you next time.